Here I'm going to do some factoring of trinomials using what they call the decomposition method. Personally, I don't like this method, but most teachers, that's all they know. So that's the way you may have to do it. And that's the reason why I'm doing this particular video. First one, 6x squared minus 17x minus 3. I'm going to multiply the 6 and the negative 3 to get negative 18. So now I'm looking for two numbers that will multiply to negative 18. And when I add them up, they're going to add up to negative 17. Okay. Now, this can sometimes be an overwhelming type of question. So I highly recommend you write down on paper all of the ways to get numbers to multiply to 18. Forget about the negative on the 18. Just focus on 18. I could do 1 and 18. I could do 2 and 9, and then 3 and 6. Look at this list and think of how you could get the numbers to multiply to negative 18 and add to negative 17. When you have it on paper, it's easier to see that it would be 1, but with a negative 18. 1 times negative 18 is negative 18, and 1 plus negative 18 is negative 17. So now we know we have the right numbers, and let me just show you how you would go from there. After we find the two right numbers, we then break up the middle term using those two numbers. So here's our trinomial, 6x to the 2. Remember that we said they have to add to the middle term. So they need to add to negative 17. There was a reason for that. We can break up negative 17x into 1x, or just x, minus 18x. This is why we did it. It's to break up the negative 17 into 1 minus 18. After we break it up like that, it creates 4 terms. With these 4 terms, we're going to factor by grouping. So we group these two together and these two together, and we do a common factor. 6x squared plus x. I could common factor an x. So I do that. And then negative 18, the moment you see the third term is a negative, you should factor negative out with it. And 18 and 3, you could divide them by 3. So this is what you do. In the brackets, you have to ask yourself what times negative 3 would give you negative 18x minus 3. And that would be 6x plus 1. When you get to this step, look at your two brackets. If they match, that's usually a good sign. That means you're on the right track. Final answer will be one of those two brackets. Just take a copy of the 6x plus 1 and one copy of what's on the outside. Here I have x minus 3, and that will make up my second factor. If you understood this example, you can pause it, try this one on your own, and then play it and make sure that you got it right. If you didn't quite understand, let's see, hopefully by the end of B, you'll get a better idea. I want to factor this trinomial. So I multiply 3 and 10. That gives me 30. And so I'm looking for two numbers that will multiply to 30. And when I add them up, they're going to add up to negative 11. Again, doesn't hurt to make the list on paper and pick from there. I could get to 30 with 1 and 30, with 2 and 15, with 3 and 10, or with 5 and 6. Out of all these numbers, you can pause the video, try to think about how to get them to add to negative 11 and multiply to 30. This will be the pair, but for them to add to negative 11, they both need to be negative, negative 5 and negative 6. Great. So now we found the two numbers. Let's write the trinomial, break up the middle term, into negative 5x minus 6x, like that. Negative 11, that's why it has to work like this, yes? They have to add to negative 11, negative 5 and negative 6 do add up to negative 11, and you have plus the 10. Factor, 3x squared minus 5x, we can take out an x, 3x minus 5, again, the third one is a negative, so negative, take out the 2, 3x minus 5 again. Now you have to be really careful with your signs. Sometimes I see students leaving this as a plus. Think about how it's a negative 2 and a negative 5. That's the way you will have to get to a 10. If I left it with negative 2 and plus 5, negative 2 times plus 5 wouldn't give me 10. That would give me negative 10. Not only that, but now you can see that the two brackets look the same. I have 3x minus 5, 3x minus 5. So that means one factor is 3x minus 5, like that. The other factor would just be what's on the outside, x minus 2. Okay, so in the final answer, it's one copy of the two duplicates and then one copy of what's on the outside.